I asked 6 retirement calculators the exact same question. They disagreed by over $1 million. Same age, same savings, same income. I didn't change one input, and every single one of them sounded completely certain, no hedging, no roughly, just a clean, confident number. 6 confident numbers. 6 different answers. That shouldn't be possible. So I went and found out why. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to sell you a course on your retirement number. I'm someone who, like probably you, has typed my age and my savings into one of those boxes at 11 p.m. and felt my stomach drop. You know the page. Big input fields. A slider for expected return. A cheerful little disclaimer at the bottom nobody reads. And then the number. Usually red. Usually huge. I did what most people do. I panicked a little, closed the tab, and didn't touch my retirement plan for another 4 months because what's the point of looking at something that just makes you feel behind? A friend who works adjacent to this industry told me something that felt like the obvious answer. Nobody makes money off a calculator that tells you you're fine. I believed that for a while. Felt right. It's not what I found. So I ran it properly. 6 calculators. Same inputs everywhere. Same age, same balance, same monthly contribution, same target retirement age. Here's what actually changed between them, not my numbers, their assumptions. One assumed a flat 5% return for 30 straight years. Another assumed 10%. Nobody tells you which one they picked until you go digging in the fine print. Point 1 ignored Social Security completely. Just didn't ask about it. Point 1 assumed I'd need 100% of my current income every year in retirement. Another assumed 80%. Not one of the 6 modeled taxes on withdrawals. Healthcare got folded into a vague expenses line, if it showed up at all. Same person. 6 different fictional futures. My first thought was the obvious one of these has to be wrong. There's a right answer somewhere in here and 5 tools are just bad at math. That's what I believed walking into the next part. It's not what I found. Picture 2 engineers at 2 different companies, neither of whom has ever met you. One of them thinks 5% is the responsible conservative number. The other thinks 9% is realistic based on historical averages. Neither is trying to deceive anyone. They're just 2 people with 2 opinions, in 2 separate offices building 2 separate tools. One of those private opinions just changed your retirement projection by close to $1 million. Okay, so it's not the math. It's the assumptions underneath the math. Mystery solved. Except it isn't. I wanted to know if this was just my 6 calculators, or if it went deeper. So I looked for people whose actual job is checking this stuff. Researchers tested 3 dozen online retirement tools. Fewer than a third of them passed a basic accuracy standard. A separate study tested a dozen calculators from major financial firms and government sources, side by side. Same conclusion. Serious, inconsistent flaws across almost all of them. So it's not 2 engineers with 2 opinions. It's the people whose job is oversight, and they can't agree either. Which means this isn't a website problem. I kept looking for the thing that had to exist. The rulebook. The standard. The regulator who signs off on what return rate a calculator is allowed to assume, or whether it has to ask about Social Security. There wasn't one. Not a conspiracy. A conspiracy would at least mean somebody was in charge. This was just nobody's job. 30 different companies, 30 private calls about what normal looks like, none of them required to explain it to you or to each other. And here's the part that actually blindsided me. I assumed the danger was calculators that scare you into buying something. That's the story I walked in with. It wasn't the biggest problem. Some of these tools were doing the exact opposite, quietly telling people they're already fine when they're not. Nobody double-checks the number that makes them feel safe. That might be the more dangerous failure of the 2, because the scary number at least sends you looking for a second opinion. The reassuring one doesn't. So there's no curtain. There's no single person tuning your number toward fear. There's no single person doing anything to it at all. That's exactly what makes it hard to notice. I used to think a confident number meant someone knew something I didn't. Now I ask a different question. Who decided this number deserved to sound so certain? That question stopped being about retirement about 4 minutes into looking into this. Before I trust any number a calculator gives me now, I look for 3 things. Most legitimate tools hide this behind an advanced settings or assumptions link. 1. What return rate is it using and can I change it? If I can't, I don't trust the output. 2. Does it ask about Social Security at all? If it doesn't, the gap it's showing me is partly fictional. 3. Is there a product or an advisor sitting directly under the result? Not proof of anything on its own, but worth noticing, the same way you'd notice who's in the room when you're handed bad news. It doesn't make the number perfect. It turns me from someone taking a private guess as gospel into someone who knows it's a guess, and knows that nobody had to agree on it before it reached me. Once I'd actually seen it, I couldn't stop seeing it. College rankings, mortgage affordability calculators, credit scores, risk assessments, health risk calculators, even the confidence an AI tool states an answer with. Every one of them hands you a precise, certain-sounding number. Every one of them is built on somebody's private assumptions that nobody had to defend to anybody. The numbers feel objective because they're precise. Precision and certainty have never been the same thing. I'm not going to tell you what your number is. I don't know your life, and honestly, neither does the calculator. It's just better at hiding that fact than it should be. I wish someone had told me that before I spent 4 months afraid of a number that was never really mine. If this was useful, I've got a follow-up where I actually rebuild one of these calculators from scratch. Live. With every assumption visible so you can see exactly where the number comes from instead of just what it says.